My dear brothers and sisters of GEFONT, I very much regret not being with you. It would be so delightful just to be there, to listen to the experiences you've had, to talk about the solutions that we need for the future for men and women in Nepal. Your leadership is legendary, both in your own country but also across the globe, but particularly in terms of the corridor, the migrant worker corridor into the Gulf states. We've done so much together that we need to take a moment to reflect on the achievements. Your fight for inclusion for women, for indeed a constitution that reflects fundamental rights and inclusion, your struggle for social protection, and indeed your organising capacity has grown the movement even in times of great challenge. But together we've also changed the labour rights in Qatar. The laws actually end the kafala system. There's a minimum wage, and it's an evidence-based minimum wage and is under review. It's one of the only countries in the world that has a minimum wage for domestic workers that is equivalent to the minimum wage for everybody else. No discrimination. It is, in fact, the first country to put heat stress in place in the region. In fact, even in Europe, as climate changes the nature of the stress that people feel from the heat at work and indeed in community life, there is no heat stress legislation. And much more. We could talk about the work that has been done to support migrant workers, to actually work inside your own country and in other countries. It's not enough, of course. We will always need to fight for our workers at home and abroad. But indeed, GEFONT is, as I said, a union that never gives up. And globally, we know that your fights are our fights. We face a convergence of crisis. We have historic levels of inequality. You know all about that. We have, in fact, got the climate emergency. And again, your leadership there has been remarkable. We have got COVID-19 and we're still living with the pandemic. But the denial of vaccines equitably around the world, the fact that workplaces were indeed subject to huge oppressive rules because of the nature of the virus, and yet protective equipment was not provided. It exposed the underfunding of care, the role of essential workers, those in health, in education, in childcare, in aged care, and of course in services, in transport, in logistics, in retail. And yet these are the poorest paid workers. They're your members, globally they're our members, and the fight indeed for rights in this context is serious. We now have, in fact, an inflationary spiral. While it's been caused by the abhorrent invasion by Russia of Ukraine, nevertheless, the blockages in supply of energy and commodities is affecting us all. But we know that a social contract, a new social contract, is the only answer. We need jobs, jobs and jobs, climate-friendly jobs with just transition. We need fundamental rights legislated for, but also mandated due diligence so that those global corporations treat workers in their supply chains with respect. We need to see that there is universal social protection. Still too many people have little or no social protection. That means no resilience against personal, national or global shocks. We need equality, equality of income with minimum living wages, with strong collective bargaining, but we also need equality of gender and equality of race. And we need that inclusive future, the promise of the SDGs, the Paris Climate Agreement, and so much more. We need a world where people respect and care for each other, one that's founded on decent work. Democratic rights and freedoms are under oppression, at risk everywhere in the world. Our people need the solidarity of both national unions and global unions more than ever. So I congratulate you. I wish you well for this Congress. I look forward to the outcomes. But I also want to say thank you, because for 12 years I have worked with and for you. GEFONT has my deepest respect as a trade union movement, but you also have been friends and collaborators in a quest for decency in Nepal, decent work in Nepal, but decent work outside of Nepal for all workers in the region and around the world. I can't thank you enough for the incredible solidarity that you've shown, and I look forward to seeing you in Melbourne, and I hope you will be there to help me present the George A. Khatri Award for indeed climate courage. We know that his spirit lives on with you. It lives on in our fight to put people and the planet at the heart of a decent future, a future we want. Thank you again.